podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Have you got World Cup fever?
Absolutely. Although I was just saying, just before we came online, to start recording, that I am going to miss the opening game of the World Cup, it seems, because I have to do some stupid World Cup work thing. So, I may sneak out of my work thing and find a corner in which to watch the game. And the opening ceremony, you can't miss the opening ceremony. It's going to be awful, but I can't wait to see what it's going to be.
It was funny in in 2014, after the kind of incredible 2012 Olympic opening ceremony, to kind of go back to football opening ceremonies. They are not as good as Olympic opening ceremonies by any stretch. I mean, if you have to miss one game of this World Cup, missing that really dreadful fixture is not probably the end of the world, is it?
Well, we'll come on to that. So talk us through the format of this show, because it's not a normal Rankcast.
No, it's not. And we are not going to break down in thorough detail every single team in the World Cup, because we'll be here for 4 years. And
well, we did do that once before, and it was 4 hours.
Yeah, it really was. I have to say, if you are looking for something like that, our friends over at the Talking Tactics podcast have done the most extraordinary job. They're only a small podcast, and they've gone absolutely above and beyond. Daniel Tillock, who is the host of the show, has interviewed people from all around the world. I think 31 out of the 32 teams he found an English language speaking expert on. Apologies to Costa Rica on his behalf. But there's been an hour-long show every single day breaking down the groups with these long, detailed chats with people. So if you want that, go and listen to Talking Tactics, because it has been absolutely brilliant.
That's pretty special. Yeah, I haven't heard any of that, but I shall listen to some.
Yeah, it's really real good. What we're going to do is we are going to talk about the things we're most excited for in each group. We're going to do predictions on each group. And of course, in ancient Rantcast tradition, we will be giving you the single funnest fact that we could find on all the countries involved in the World Cup. And we'll talk a bit about United stuff as well too, because obviously, why wouldn't we?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I guess I get Group A.
Yes, let's get going.
I'm glad I got that right, because imagine I'd got it the wrong way round. We've done hours of research on the wrong teams.
I mean, has ever the phrase group of death been more unfortunately literal?
Oh, ouch. Yeah, it's the group of I might want to burn my eyes out after watching it. I really don't know how to call this group either. It's Russia, Saudi Arabia, Uruguay and Egypt. And I don't know how to call it, because it's 4 pretty bad teams. Yeah. Although that might be unfair on Uruguay, who actually finished second in the Common Bowl qualification, albeit 10 points behind Brazil. So, Russia, Saudi Arabia opens on Thursday, the human rights fixture. And we've got Russia, the host, who've basically been pretty crap for more than 2 years. In fact, actually, if you look at their record, they haven't gone past a group stage. So they've either failed to qualify or gone out of the group stage since they became Russia. So, clearly the fall of the Berlin Wall was a terrible historical mistake. Many people in Russia believe, including the president. So they didn't get out of the groups of Euro 16 either, nor at the Confederations Cup last summer. Remarkably, coincidentally, you might say, they got an extremely easy draw in this World Cup. Statistically, the easiest possible draw, I think, of all the groups.
I believe it may be statistically the easiest possible draw relative to the competition as a whole of all time.
of all time based on FIFA rankings. Yeah. So bad Russia side, bad Saudi Arabia side. They finished second in the third round of Asian qualification behind Japan, but on equal points with Australia. And this is not a good Australia side at all. You know, when your star player is Tim Cahill and he's 38 and playing for Millwall in the Championship, you've got a problem. And there's Uruguay, who I said finished second, and Egypt, who of course has got Mo Salah if he's fit, and they just about qualified right at the death. So let's go through a few interesting things about some of the teams here. So Russia, as I said, not very good. Coached by Stanislav Cherchesov, a former keeper. You might remember him. He had a decent-ish career. He looks like an FSB agent, scary looking fella, and he's had 8 jobs in the past 14 years, none of which he's actually been very successful in, which is kind of interesting. He won a couple of cups at Legia Warsaw. Fun fact, they love poisoning people in Russia. No, I'm kidding. It's not a fun fact. 13 Russians and 3 Russian companies have been indicted by Robert Mueller in the current investigation by the Special Counsel in the United States. Fun fact. All 13 of them.
So this group has got the best fun facts of all the fun facts.
And they're currently involved in several wars around the world. United connections, I can't find one, really, not in this Russia squad. I mean, obviously we played CSKA a few times in recent years, and we did once have Andrei Konchelskis, who was actually Ukrainian. But, you know, hey, if you believe Donald Trump, who said that the people of the Crimea, a Ukrainian province, are very happy that Russia invaded a couple of years ago, then maybe Russia-Ukraine's all the same thing, right? Saudi Arabia, the other half of the human rights fixture. Most of the players, in fact, almost all of them are from the domestic league. But they did this really weird thing in the winter where they sent out a bunch of players on loan. So Salim Al-Deswari joined Villarreal, Yaha Al-Shari joined Leganes, and Fahad Al-Mawalhad, sorry about the dodgy pronunciation, joined Levante. Guess how many games all 3 of them played in the second half of the Spanish season?
That would be 0.
That would be 0 games. 0. Nothing to do with the large amounts of money the Saudi Arabian government paid La Liga. Coach is Juan Antonio Pizzi, who you may remember, former Barcelona Valencia player. He's managed around South America. He was at Valencia for a while. He won the Copa America with Chile. Reached the final of the Confederations Cup where they were really unlucky to lose to Germany, and then they failed to qualify for this World Cup. He got sacked and then has taken up the Saudi Arabia job in November.
It's a really good emergency appointment, isn't it? If you're going to kind of parachute in someone for a tournament, that is not a bad option.
Oh yeah, I mean he's a highly experienced, good quality coach. I mean Saudi Arabia's problem is they've got no players of any quality at all, and they're clearly going to finish last in this group. Fun facts, they're engaged in a financial terrorism of the Iranian regime at the moment, backed by Eric Prince, who's the former Blackwater boss, a good friend of Donald Trump, and George Nader, who is a convicted paedophile, also a good friend of Donald Trump. Kind of weird, but, there you go.
Just want to say at this point, my facts are going to be a lot more fun.
I've got some fun ones. I just thought I'd, go with the human rights FC theme on this one. United connection, there is one because Mohamed Al Salwawi trained with, who I mentioned earlier, trained with United for 3 weeks in March.
Right, interesting.
Nothing, of course, to do with the large sponsorship deal that United just agreed with the sports authority there in Saudi Arabia.
Why would it be?
Just completely coincidental. Uruguay, sorry, I'll rush through these because we don't want to be here for days and days. Uruguay, interesting because, they were second in CONMEBOL. They had some good results and they've got some very good players. Edison Cavani, you'll all know, Luis Suarez, that's going to be a really potent attack. In defence, Diego Godin, who's, I think it's fair to describe him as world-class, really top-class centre-back. I really do like Diego Laxalt, who's a sort of left-sided player at Genoa. He failed at Inter, but he's really, come good. He's sort of just about 25 now. I think he could be a good player. So they've got a decent spine there. They've got Oscar Tabarez, who's their coach, who's super experienced. had jobs across Europe and South America, won the Copa America with Uruguay in 2011, a few domestic cups across a few different countries, super experienced coach. And so, I think this is they're a good shout. I'm pretty sure they'll qualify from this group. In fact, I think they'll probably finish top. Listen, there's been some really interesting, dodgy meddling in something other than elections by the Russians. Fun fact, they are the smallest nation ever to win the World Cup. Just 3.4 million people. In fact, probably just 1.7 million when they won the World Cup in 1934. And only Iceland, Northern Ireland, Wales and Slovenia are smaller countries to have ever qualified for the World Cup.
Won the World Cup in 1930. 34 was...
Yeah, and 50.
But yeah, 34
and 50. United Connection, well, Guillermo Varela, remember him?
Do.
In the squad.
I think I predicted he would be in José Mourinho's first starting 11 for a Bleacher Report article. That was factually inaccurate. Inaccurate.
Another United Connection, Luis Suarez, the racist biter.
He's a bad person. Well, he might not be a bad person. He's done some bad things.
Finally, round off this group, Egypt, who qualified in spectacular style. Do you remember that last-minute penalty from Mo Salah to take them through? Lots and lots of celebrations.
There's a downer to that, which is actually they had another game. They could totally have qualified in their next game. But
They did, but there was a lot of excitement about it.
Understandably so.
Salah scored over 30 goals in the Premier League this season, 10 in the Champions League. Obviously, a lot of focus on him because he's the star man, assuming he's fit. I haven't actually heard about that for a while.
It's still touch and go, right? It's. I don't think anyone.
Well, they'll take him whatever.
Yeah, of course.
A few other players you'll recognise: Ahmed El Mahdi at Aston Villa, formerly of Wigan. Sam Morsy from Wigan, also. Mohamed Elneny from Arsenal. You'll remember. Ramaz Sobhi didn't play quite a lot. Didn't play very much. Quite a lot. Didn't play very much at Stoke. Armen Hegazi played quite a bit at West Brom. So, plenty of local recognition there. Head coach Hector Cooper, who you all know, of course. I almost, when I was writing my notes for this, almost called him legendary. But and he almost was, wasn't he? He was very famous in the early 2000s for losing a lot of cup finals, including 2 Champions League finals in a row with Valencia.
He was always like one of the top-rated baddie coaches in Football Manager games at the turn of the century. That's my main experience with Hector Cooper. I guess Championship Manager games, I should say, to be technically accurate for the time.
My predictions, I think Uruguay will finish top and Russia second, and the winner-runner-up play the winner and runner-up from Group B. So
interesting that you've gone with Russia rather than Egypt, and I think it's pretty clear that Egypt are a much better team than Russia. I mean, Russia...
They are. But home advantage and all that is...
home advantage.
Yeah. I mean, it could be interesting, couldn't it? Dodgy penalty call, dodgy VAR. Yeah. I didn't give you a fun fact about Egypt. I had written my fun fact along similar lines. Let's just say the Arab Spring didn't quite work out in Egypt.
Oh, no. Oh, dear. Right, listen, it gets cheerier from here on out. Group A really does. Because, in a way, it's really fitting that there's a kind of conversation about how disgusting some of this World Cup is. Because this World Cup is about soft power. And there's never really been...
As is the next one.
But the next one everyone's been talking about since it was kind of announced, but they were announced together. And everyone just ignored this one, even though this one's straight up along the same lines. And I think...
Well, look, at the risk of getting poloniumed... you got a terrorist state in Russia meddling in overseas elections. We know they meddled in the US election and Brexit, poisoning people overseas. What was it? The BuzzFeed post had 15 ex-Soviet, ex-Russian agents, people, enemies of the state poisoned over the last 2 years, invaded a country just a few years ago, and is still an occupying force. So, all good there then, as long as the sponsors come in. Another fun fact about this World Cup is that actually after a lot of the big Western sponsors pulled out during the sort of FIFA corruption crisis, piles and piles of Chinese sponsors came in. So if you're going to Russia for the World Cup, you'll enjoy some beverages that you might not have seen before.
Interesting. One of the questions that I asked us to work out before the game was to say, what are we most looking forward to from all the groups? What are you most looking forward to from this group?
Let's see. We've got the terrorist state, Luis Suarez's team, and Mo Salah's team. Mo Salah's seems like a nice guy, but look, he plays for Liverpool, so clearly he's not.
This is a group of unfortunate human rights situations and Liverpool stars. It's a bad combination. Let's move on to a happier.
So I'm looking forward to Uruguay and Russia going out in the second round.
Let's move on to a much happier group, Group B. The politics is going to stop here. Just want to say it's in the background informing everything else. But this group's going to be hugely shaped by the first round of games because of the way the fixtures have fallen. So Morocco play Iran and Portugal play Spain. And if both of those games result in a win, whoever loses them is going to be left at a pretty significant disadvantage. Because I think everyone's looking at this group thinking Portugal and Spain are going to qualify from it. But Morocco and Iran are both teams that could do something.
Carlos Queiroz still Iran coach, right?
Yes, Ed. Way to preempt what's coming.
Oh, sorry. Say your piece. I will not interrupt again.
No, that's quite fine. So the Portugal-Spain game on the first Friday night of the tournament is that's utterly mouthwatering. The first heavyweight clash of the World Cup, a brilliant test of whether the Euro 2016 winners are going to be able to punch above their weight at another tournament, and whether what is now 6 years on from their last major tournament win after profoundly impressive results in their pre-World Cup friendlies and qualifying, whether Spain are genuine contenders this time out.
Only just beat Tunisia the other night, though, didn't they?
They did, but I was thinking of the game against Germany, which ended up in a draw, but both teams just looked like real world beaters. And then Spain played Argentina and beat them 6-1, which was just absolutely ridiculous.
Portugal's interesting because they qualified well, right? They won 9 games and lost 1 or something like that. So which is not we always associate them with sort of playoff, scraping through the playoffs into tournaments and stuff like that, and being 22 men plus Ronaldo. But this is a good squad.
I think it was either Switzerland or Sweden who was in the same group as them that also got 27 points and ended up in a play.
Switzerland.
Right. I mean, how brutal is that to get 27 points and end up in a playoff? But fortunately, they've got to the World Cup. I mean, United interest in the Portugal team. There's always been a lot, but there isn't any anymore because whatever the people who attempted to crowdfund the return of Cristiano Ronaldo might say, he still has his name sung at Old Trafford, even though he literally agreed when Sepp Blatter said he was being treated like a slave when United didn't let him leave in 2008, and he's repeatedly used the club's name to get himself better deals at Madrid with no intention of ever returning to Manchester. Maybe Diogo Dalot will be in the squad one day and we'll have someone to really root for.
Is Nani in the squad?
No, not anymore. I've said that very confidently, but I'm almost certain that Nani's been left out of the squad. Interesting, in 2016, Renato Sanchez was such a crucial player for them, and I don't think he's in the squad at all after having a torrid 2 years. But they're still managed by Fernando Santos, who managed Greece at the World Cup in 2014 and just looks every inch the Greece manager in that. It's they play Portugal so... I mean, they had that one amazing game against Hungary in Euro 2016, but mostly they just played really depressing football all the way through that tournament. And
because this time they actually have a proper forward because there's Andre Silva from Milan, right? So who is he's not had a great season, but he's a very fine centre forward, and it was the sort of joke with Portuguese football for years that they didn't have one.
But they made one, didn't they? Anyway, because Ronaldo is just effectively what is Ronaldo now if not a centre forward?
Yeah.
Now, Spain, when we talk about United interest, on the other hand, have David De Gea, 4-time United Player of the Season. He's asserted himself now as the undisputed number 1 for Spain after that sort of long willy won't he versus...
Made a bit of a mistake the other night,
He did, yeah. Getting it out of the way early, isn't it? It's, it'd be fitting, I think, if he won the World Cup, given the bunch of chances he's currently playing for don't let him win the silverware that he probably deserves as the best goalkeeper in the world. I think it'd be lovely if David De Gea won the World Cup. I can't find any United interest in the Morocco team, but I didn't do the deep background that you did, so maybe there's like some hidden there. But of course, Iran are managed by Fergie's favourite ever assistant, Carlos Queiroz. And Carlos Queiroz has done an absolutely banging job for Iran, like incredible. Didn't concede a goal in qualifying until the game against Syria, that you might remember when Syria won 2-2 to kind of make it possible for them to, not won, they won 2-2. Drew 2-2 to make it possible.
Impressive.
Make it possible for them to qualify, which they didn't in the end, but there was very emotional scenes.
Let's not talk about that Syria side. We might get onto politics again.
I mean, we're talking about Iran. It's not impossible that this is vaguely political. But Andy Mitten a couple of years ago went out and spent some time with Queiroz and did a big interview for 442 with him, and it was really interesting. I mean, obviously like a football mad country, United mad country, and Queiroz is wildly popular there. And he's kind of stood up to the Iranian FA a few times to get things his way, and things have clearly gone his way. That game against Syria where they conceded a couple of goals, they'd long since qualified, so they just breezed it. And it's not, there are some teams in certain regions where you think like breezing through qualification is easy and just makes sense, but there's no real inherent reason why Iran should be breezing through qualification where in the group that they're in. So he's doing brilliantly. I've got some fun facts for you though, Ed. This is what I'm really here for.
Go on then, give us the fun facts on Iran.
All right, we'll start with Iran. The English word paradise comes from a Persian word meaning enclosed garden. So being able to watch 4 competitive internationals on the first Saturday of the World Cup sounds like an enclosed garden to me. Portugal is the largest manufacturer of corks in the world. 70% of the world's corks come from there. They have the world's last cork forest. Someone get Roy Keane and Dennis Irwin out there for a photo shoot.
Yeah. I think I might have known that actually. I have been to Portugal many times, and I spent a long weekend in Porto.
Right.
One time, which was good fun.
Right.
If very drunken.
Did you open a lot of corks? Is that one of the things that you did?
Yeah.
This is my favourite fun fact of any of the fun facts that I've come up with or discovered. And by the way, I should say at this point, I have not thoroughly fact-checked any of these. Any website claiming to present facts about teams, about countries, I've accepted at face value, which is...
Seems fair enough to me.
The first known stapler...
Alternative fact, shall we say.
The first known stapler was invented in Spain. Now that is a fun fact. The first ever stapler.
Wow.
Imagine a world with no staplers, and then suddenly someone's like, "Well, if you kind of put pressure like that, you can bend it round." It's genius. And anyway, I'm not Johnny Fact Checker here, but according to one article I read and a bunch of stuff that agrees with it online, the liver is the traditional organ used to represent love rather than the heart in Morocco. Moroccan fun facts for you.
Huh.
I've gone with a really boring prediction, though. Spain, Portugal, Morocco, Iran. But I don't think that is nailed.
Morocco above Iran?
Morocco, there's a lot of talented players in Morocco. So they've done a big sort of rebuilding job where they've been extremely aggressive about targeting players in the diaspora around Europe. So I think they've got 3 or 4 players born in Holland, 2 or 3 born in France, as you would probably imagine. And so that's a really multicultural side. And yeah, some real bright sparks and lots of interesting young players. So they could be fun to watch.
I didn't mention earlier, I was going to make a joke about the best Brazilian right back in the World Cup being Mario Fernandes, who plays for Russia.
Right, there you go. So that's Group B. I mean, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think Portugal are gonna? I mean, I'm just expecting Spain to be really professional and
and they look really good, and they've got world class players in every position. Yeah, I just wonder up front with Spain though. I mean, they've gone with Diego Costa. And he's Diego Costa. Aspas they took along as the sort of second choice, I guess, and I'm not sure I ever thought he was that good.
No.
So they're really, really strong in defensive and midfield positions. I just wonder up front whether they are quite as strong, but they have so many players in so many flexible positions that for me they're probably just favourites for this.
Do you think?
And I think they'll win this group.
Do you think?
And I think they'll probably beat Portugal on the opening weekend.
Do you think Morata feels betrayed that Iago Aspas is in the squad? Do you get it? Betrayed by Iago. That's a bit of culture for you there. Just throwing a bit of culture. Why not?
Well, he's an intelligent man, so he'd probably get that reference.
Yeah.
That will never get old.
No, it won't. The thing about Portugal, I mean, Ronaldo, you say it's 9-11, 10 plus Ronaldo, and it isn't, but if they didn't have Ronaldo, would we be saying, like, yeah, they're probably going to get through this qualifying? And, like, if they do lose to Spain, the margins for error are tiny once you lose the opening game.
Sure.
And that could be really significant in that group, but I might be just overplaying it and they'll just beat more.
No, I think that's definitely a fair assessment. You lose the opening game. I don't know what the odds are on this. I should have looked up the data, but I'm going to say if you lose the opening game, there's a very small percentage of teams that then go through.
Yeah.
Or a reasonably small percentage that then go through. And there's going to be huge pressure on them if that happens. Ronaldo, of course, who was pretty poor in the Champions League final and the semi-final, but did score, I think, 12 goals in the whole Champions League campaign. So he was a bit.
Has he been top scorer in the Champions League for 6 years in a row, or something?
Is that right? Something like that.
Some fact like that, and won 3 out of the last 4 Champions Leagues. Very good player.
He's all right. Yeah, he scored more goals than games this season, and he's supposed to be wide in game.
And the whole first half of the season, everyone was like, "He's finished. He's finished." Because he was like missing chances. To be fair to them, all the XG lads were like, "No, he's going to be absolutely fine." And then turned out they were right. They must love it. Then can you imagine how buzzing they'd be when he starts scoring after they've said, "It'll be fine. He's going to start scoring again." Anyway, we cannot afford digressions given how long this show's going to be. So hit us up with Group C.
France, Australia, Peru, and Denmark. This should be fun. France. France have some talent, you could say.
It's ridiculous. Is there?
I mean, arguably they're the strongest squad in the tournament.
That's what I was going to say. Is there a squad with a higher mean level of talent? Maybe Brazil, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Brazil, I'll come on to Brazil later. I think there's a huge amount of talent in Brazil, but I think it's a bit more defensively oriented than Brazil's of, yesteryear. So look, France qualification. In the end, it was easy, but it wasn't perfect, was it? They lost the game. They drew a couple in a group that contained Sweden, Netherlands, a poor Netherlands side, Bulgaria, Luxembourg, and Belarus. Right. So
there was one the penultimate game week, I think, of the penultimate international break where they massively blew a fixture that they could easily have got through. And
Belarus, I think they drew with, didn't they? Yeah. Star players, obviously they've got Pogba and Griezmann, and Marseille's Thauvin had a great season. Nabil Fekir, who didn't join Liverpool last week. Thomas Lemar, who's obviously on the radar of every top team. Kylian Mbappe might be a once-in-a-generation talent. So huge amounts of talent in this squad. Probably play 4-3-3.
Will they? Because this is... if you play 4-3-3, then you're talking about Mbappe, maybe even Giroud and Griezmann on the...
No, I think Mbappe's going to play through the middle.
Right.
That's what I think. I think Giroud's coming off the bench.
And he'll play Dembele and Mbappe and Griezmann on either side.
Yeah, or Lemar, yeah, who's been playing off the bench more often than Dembele. So, it's Lloris, obviously, fine keeper, not great with his feet, but fine keeper. Sidibe, Titi, Varane and Hernandez probably across the back line. I don't know whether Mendy will start. He's the better player than Hernandez, but obviously missed most of the season. Kante and Pogba are definite starters. Is it Matuidi in the middle with them? Probably.
There's been a lot of talk in France about whether Pogba should start if they play 4-2-3-1, because the thing is, 4-2-3-1 was the formation that got the best performances out of them at Euro 2016 because it played Griezmann at 10, and that was the thing that made France click in the last Euros. Or maybe not against Iceland. Pogba was really good, but the 4-3-3. Pogba's obviously going to play, but in a 2, there's a lot of talk about whether Pogba can play in a 2, and
Well, it is Deschamps, and they might they could go more defensive, and that would be the more defensive option to play two holders in there, Kante and Matuidi. They might do. I wonder whether the balance isn't better playing Griezmann, Mbappe, and Dembele.
But you get
and you've got Lamar and Fekir who can all come on as well, which is kind of why Anthony Martial didn't make it, because there are an awful lot of players who play in attacking wide positions.
Yes.
And as hugely talented as Martial is, he obviously spent a lot of the second half of the season on the bench.
Yeah, and in a way, you're either looking at Lamar or Thauvin as being the players that took his direct spot. That's those. Maybe Lamar, you could say, is the closest to the bubble because of how good. Because France is weirdly parochial. Like, if you're really tearing it up in the French league, there's a very good chance you're going to get a look in for the national side. And
two biggest questions for me about France, because they've got loads of talent. Will Deschamps let the horses run freely? Probably not, right? And is there a plan B? Because at the moment, plan B looks like Giroud, and that's it.
But he's France's joint all-time record goal scorer.
He is, yeah. So fun facts about France. So I'm often making fun of you being, a Frenchman, of saying that the French are cheese-eating surrender monkeys, and I think this is a bit unfair, because I looked it up, and they're the only fourth on the world cheese-eating list. So, partially wrong, that statement. Yeah. And do you know who they're behind? This surprised me, got to say. I didn't expect this, but go and have a guess.
Is it like
it's a sort of cluster of countries near each other.
Is it per capita or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Switzerland, Germany,
nope.
Austria. No?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Denmark, Iceland, and Finland.
Wow.
Love cheese.
Bloody love the cheese, the Scandinavians.
Didn't realise. Is Iceland a Scandinavian?
I've got no idea. Literally not a clue.
Anyway, Australia, another Group C side. Not very good. Not very good, Australia. Star players, Brad Jones, once a reserve at Liverpool, now a reserve at Feyenoord. Mitch Langerak played for Borussia Dortmund and Stuttgart a while back. Matthew Leckie played at Hertha Berlin for a while, scored 5 goals in his one season at Hertha Berlin. He's a forward. There's Tim Cahill, back at Millwall, aged 38 now. Aaron Moy, who had a decent season at Huddersfield, I guess. They only just qualified, so they finished third in the second round of Asian qualification. And same number of points as the Saudis. Had to play Honduras over 2 legs and managed a single goal over the 2 legs, which took them through. They then sacked their coach.
Well,
he left, or was encouraged to leave after the qualifiers.
Really strange situation, apparently, because although they did struggle with qualifying, that's a talent thing, and he was really reinventing them as a kind of bold, attacking, young, dynamic side, and they've replaced him with Bert van Marwijk, which is that's a weird move.
Not the best coach to be bold and attacking.
No.
Yeah. United Connection couldn't find one. I mean, obviously we had Mark Bosnich play for us many years ago.
That doesn't count.
But doesn't count. Not in this World Cup. Fun fact, I'll slip an extra shrimp on the Barbie for you, is a saying that we all know, because it comes from a series of ads in the 1980s for the Australian Tourist Board featuring Hulk Hogan. Of course, Australians would never actually say that because they use the word prawn, not shrimp, which is an Americanism.
Ed, I'm absolutely delighted by that fun fact. I found it to be delightful.
Fun.
Yeah, very, very, very fun. Yeah.
Peru. Peru and Denmark round out the squad. So Peru,
they've got a sash.
Got a sash. They've got a good kit. It's a good kit. I like that kit. It's at least an 11 out of 10 kit. First time in the World Cup since 1982 for Peru.
Yeah.
Finished 5th in CONMEBOL and ended up beating New Zealand in the playoff, intercontinental playoff. But look, they had some good results along the way. They beat Uruguay, got 2 draws against Argentina. It's said to be a side, I have to say, haven't seen a lot of them, that's more about hard work than than real talent, but it got them through. The biggest star is probably Paulo Guerrero, who's a 34-year-old striker who's just come off serving 6 months of a 14-month suspension for taking cocaine. He claimed it was because he had drunk too much coca-tea.
So, really interesting story, this. All the captains of the other groups, other teams in this group wrote a letter in support of him to his tribunal thingy, to give it its technical name, that meant he could play in this World Cup, because apparently it's very broadly known that this really was an accidental ingestion and he wasn't doing drugs.
Yeah, totally, absolutely, totally believe it. I mean, I drank a lot of coca-tea when I was in Colombia. That's a joke, by the way, people. Joke, if any colleagues are listening, joke.
I mean, you just claim to drink a lot of tea, so to be fair, you can probably get away with that anyway.
Yeah. Coach Ricardo Gareca is Argentinian. There's a lot of Argentine coaches in the World Cup.
Every year it's the same. Like half of South American qualifying is managed by Argentinians.
And a whole bunch of others as well. He's managed around the continent for many, many years, obviously 60s. Hasn't won anything for a decade, mind you. So he's lucked on a decent side in Peru. I wonder whether they might go quite far, because you actually look at their numbers in qualification and you think that they were probably a better side than just fifth.
And
fun fact. Go on.
No, I was just going to say fifth in South American qualifying isn't like that's very good. South American.
Yeah, it is hard to get through that.
It's one giant league of every team in South America. So, if you think about that in European terms, there's plenty of teams that would finish well lower than fifth in European qualifying if it was like that are in this World Cup.
Very true. Other good players, Jefferson Farfan, you'll know.
Fun fact, Ed.
Fun fact. Well, I'm getting on to a couple of players first. Okay. Jefferson Farfan now plays at Lokomotiv in Russia, formerly of Schalke. Perennial favourite of the Twitter sphere, I'd say. Raul Ruiz is talked about highly. He plays in Liga MX in Mexico. Young forward. Fun fact. The national dish of Peru is roasted guinea pig. I have eaten this.
This is not a fun fact.
It comes on a spit, the whole guinea pig.
This is a heartbreaking fact.
Yeah.
Honestly.
They get kind of flattened and roasted over a spit. It's pretty awesome. I've never actually been to Peru, although I nearly did go a couple of times. For a couple of reasons, it didn't quite happen. But I've had this, not in Peru.
Okay. Is there one more team in that group?
There is Denmark, who qualified having beaten Ireland in the playoff, 5-1 in the end. So the Irish couldn't complain about, non-existent handball. Just waiting, pausing for the groans coming from our Irish listeners.
Did you say, I checked out for a second now. I've just realised, I've rewound what you just said and realised you said non-existent handball. I'm a fan of the French national team, and Thierry was playing basketball that day.
So they qualified behind Poland in their group and then beat the Republic in the playoffs. It's the first time in the World Cup since 2010. They were hot and cold through qualifying, slow start at the beginning of the group, then some really good results. Beat Poland 4-0, 4-1 against Kazakhstan, 5-1 against Ireland in the playoffs. So, maybe they're warming up. They've got some really good players and some really not good players. So, Christian Eriksen's obviously the star of this side. You got Cassius Michael, who's a very good keeper. Simon Kjaer, I think he's having a better second half of his career than his first half. He was sort of wonder kid, went off the rails a bit, and now he's at Sevilla. Having a good renaissance, I'd say. They are not taking Nicholas Bentner, who's picked up an injury and he's not certain to be ready. Fun thing about Nicholas Bentner, he's now playing at Rosenborg and he scored over 20 goals this season in 30 games. So.
I mean, he's a wildly talented player. When he was on,
but he's probably scored more goals in the last 2 years at Rosenborg than he scored in the rest of his career put together.
When he was on loan at Birmingham City, loads of my Birmingham City mates were like, "This kid is going to be absolutely anything he wants to be," and it didn't quite turn out like that. But he did have bags of talent.
Some really good young players, I'd say. So Andreas Christensen at Chelsea, I think he's been coming into his own. Victor Fischer at Copenhagen, not quite become the player that people thought, but he's still a very talented player. Kasper Dolberg obviously played for Ajax against us in the Europa League last year. Very, very talented 19, 20-year-old. There's Borussia Dortmund's new player, Thomas Delaney. And they pick good players, don't they, Borussia? So, there's some good young players. It's not Denmark 1986 by any means. That was a side.
It really was.
That was a side.
But they're aiming very much to that. Their Norwegian coach is apparently. This is all from the Talking Tactics podcast, by the way. Their Norwegian coach is trying to get them to really embody the spirit of that side and kind of try and play that way. And they haven't had a player as good as Christian Eriksen since the Laudrup's retired, probably.
That's right. Age Harida, is it how you pronounce him? The Norwegian coach. He played for Molde. And Manchester City. Boo. Boo in the early 80s. Boo, that's when they were properly crap. And they were properly crap after that too. Until they were saved. He's been managing in Denmark and Norway all his career. Various cups and leagues, one with Molde, but then again, so did Ole Gunnar. Doesn't a good coach make? United connection, Kasper Schmeichel, obviously Peter's son. Are we allowed to talk about Peter Schmeichel, the worst pundit on television?
Well, we're not adding any more digressions, Ed, because we are almost 40 minutes into this podcast and we haven't finished Group C yet.
Oh, okay. Fun fact. 5 Danes have played for Manchester United. Can you name them?
Yes. Jesper Olsen, Peter Schmeichel, your man, who started the Champions League final. What's his name? Was he Danish? Oh, I've got a horrible feeling he might have been Swedish. No. He was Swedish, wasn't he?
Which one are we talking about? Blomqvist?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Swedish, yeah. Olsen? No, he's Dutch.
No, Jesper Olsen.
I named Jesper Olsen, but I was
Schmeichel,
thinking...
you've got 2 so far.
I was thinking of Arnold Mirren, who is Dutch.
He's definitely Dutch.
All right, hold on. We can do this.
No tapping. I'll hear.
No, I'm not tapping. Ronnie Johnson?
No.
Swedish?
Norwegian.
Damn it. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
You cannot tell these Scandinavians apart.
I want to make it very clear that the Solskjaer thing then was a joke. Why can't I think of any of our Danish players?
Shall I help you?
Yeah, give me positions.
Would you like to phone a friend?
Is Alex Butner Danish?
A goalkeeper. Not Peter Schmeichel.
Oh.
At one point, some very, very wrong people, thought he was better than David De Gea.
Anders Lindegaard.
There you go.
That's led me to his brother, Jesse Lingard.
Yeah, not quite. Defender.
Fullback or central defender?
Fullback.
A fullback.
Stretching my knowledge of the 80s.
Oh, okay.
I have a horrible feeling I may have got his position wrong.
I'm giving up if it's an 80s fullback and I can't immediately think of.
Okay, Johnny Severbeck.
I was going to say John Severbeck.
Of course you were. Of course you were. Final one is a kid.
Oh, okay, give up.
He did play.
Joshua King? No, he's Swedish.
No, he's Norwegian. God, you're such a racist. Imagine, just swap Denmark, Norway, and Sweden for Senegal, Nigeria, and Ivory Coast.
I'm so sorry. The thing is, we've got loads of listeners and backers in all of these countries, and I've just alienated all of them. I'd like to apologise to everyone individually from all the countries that I've mentioned.
When you run for office, we'll bring this out.
Yeah, okay.
All right, the final one is Mads Tim. Remember him?
I do.
Wonder Kid?
I would have.
All right.
I wouldn't have guessed he was Danish. I'd have guessed he was Norwegian.
Let's crack on. Group D.
Argentina, Iceland. Oh, no, you need to predict what order that group's going to finish.
This is a really hard one.
Yeah, that's why I'm making you do it.
Obviously France.
Yeah.
Australia coming last because they're shit.
Yeah.
Peru or Denmark? I'm just going to edge towards Denmark, but it's going to be the game between the two of them should be a cracker, and it will decide it.
I'm terrified of France blowing this really big time, but I think that's nonsense. There's no reason they should. Right, Group D, Argentina, Iceland, Croatia and Nigeria. The thing I'm looking forward to in this group is really simple. It's Messi. So at 30, this is probably his last peak level World Cup. Can the people around him finally stop letting him down? Will he get his Maradona 86 moment? The answer is probably no on both counts. But Jorge Sampaoli's commitment to attacking football means that they'll be fun, right? Argentina are going to be fun to watch. And assuming they don't blow it, there's going to be fierce competition for second place in this group. There's definitely an argument for all three of these teams. They've all got very distinct strengths and weaknesses. I said this about France, but it feels even more true about Argentina. I don't think it's impossible to imagine them imploding and fail to qualify. Remember 2002? It was like such a talented Argentina side with full of talent, and they didn't make it out of the group stages because once you start stumbling, we talked about it earlier, it can really accelerate. Croatia,
and of course, since Romero is out of the World Cup,
yeah, exactly. We used to call him Flappy Serge, but we can't call him that anymore because he's like.
Well, his knee might be a bit flappy, but yeah, his hands aren't. They're fairly safe these days.
He's clutch Serge, you know. Just play him in cup finals. He's fine.
So many attacking players, though. I mean, who are all their forwards? Messi, Di Maria, Pavon.
We're not going to do this.
Higuain, is Higuain coming?
Ed, we're not going to do this. We're not going to list all the good players that Argentina have. It will take forever.
Okay.
Croatia bringing through some younger players, which are really badly needed. This is Modric and Mandzukic's last World Cup, probably both 32. Rakitic 30, Perisic 29. So it's probably...
What are you talking about? Mandzukic is moving to United, so he's got plenty of League Cup finals to come.
That's true. Iceland obviously looking to build on that remarkable...
Can you pronounce all the Icelandic players' names?
No, I'm not even going to try. I mean, listen, I'm not going to get into that after what just happened when I tried to name Danish football.
They like cheese, though, don't they?
Yeah, apparently.
Now you know. That's why they're so, strong and,
Is
wildling looking.
Is cheese related to beard growth in some way?
I think it must be.
They qualified top of their group, a really well organised 4-4-2, and an absolute triumph of team building and consistent, coherent sporting policy from the government, building loads of indoor football arenas. And, it is a kind of one of those success stories you hear about of well-organised international federations.
Nigeria. We'll find out it's doping a few years down the line.
Nigeria, I've heard a couple of different Nigeria fans saying that their hopes of getting through the group rests on Victor Moses playing well.
It doesn't matter what they do. That shirt is fire.
It's really great. It is. I mean, I know this is the most cliched Mundial Mag thing that you could possibly say, but some cliches are cliches because they're true. That Nigeria kit is absolutely ridiculously hot. And the thing is, even though Victor Moses is their star player, which is an extraordinary statement. I mean, Nigerian fans, I think, get very frustrated at Chelsea that he's playing a right wing back because he might play at number 10 for Nigeria. I mean, he might play on the wing, but he might play at number 10. And they did get through a really tough group in qualifying.
It didn't look that great against England, though.
No. But then they changed it quite a lot at half time, and
they did.
It's going to be really interesting to see whether is Mikel going to start and be that kind of metronome, sort of Nigerian Michael Carrick role for Mikel. It's going to be interesting what they do, and you'd have to say that Iceland and Croatia both definitely beatable because Croatia, it was really interesting listening to I know I've mentioned the Talking Tactics boys a lot, but listening to the Croatian expert, he was very down about their chances, very saying, yep, of course we've got Modric, Mandzukic, Rakitic, Perisic, but it's actually quite difficult to fit them all into the same team. And you get the kind of Lampard-Gerrard problem there. And they are bringing a lot of young players through. So, we'll see if they can. And at the Euros, they looked brilliant on their day. And then all that stuff happened with the fan trouble in the crowds, and they really went off the ball, didn't make it out of the groups. So we'll see. Romero's injury means that Marcos Rocco is United's only player in this entire group, although, of course, José Mourinho no doubt wishes Perisic could be included on the list.
I'm sure he does. All right.
Fun
facts?
Argentina, Croatia, Iceland, Nigeria. That's my prediction. But
Argentina, Croatia, Iceland, Nigeria.
Not
we wouldn't be surprised if Iceland made it out.
No, me neither. I wouldn't be surprised if Nigeria made it out. I wouldn't be surprised if any of those three teams came second. That's basically just, predictions based on very little. So I've got some banging fun facts here. If you're getting the impression, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm only really in it for the fun facts, it's not far off. So Argentina was the first place where fingerprints were used to solve a crime. They didn't test the ball Maradona punched into the net in 1986, did they?
but they had fingerprints.
Yeah, exactly. Fingerprints were all over that. Iceland's game against England.
I don't think you have fingerprints on your knuckles.
That's true. Okay, fair enough. Maybe that was why it didn't happen. But yeah, in the late 19th century, Argentina was the first place where fingerprints were used to solve a crime. Iceland's game at England. Everyone talks about percentages when it comes to Iceland. I was trying to quickly look up earlier what percentage of Iceland's population was in the squad, and I think it's something like 0.03. It's a big number, it's a big percentage. But 99.8% share of the TV viewing audience Iceland's game against England at the Euros got, meaning that about 650 people in the whole country didn't watch it. It's amazing.
Absolute traitors. Do they have an excuse?
Maybe they don't like football. Like that seems.
I don't believe that figure, by the way. I'm sure that's not true, but still.
The Croatian town. Talking of figures you don't believe, the Croatian town of Hum is reportedly home to between 17 and 23 people, making it the smallest town in the world. That is a very small town. I mean, they call it a town, but that is essentially just a big house. I was looking up.
Do they all live together?
I was looking up pictures of it on Wikipedia, and one of the pictures was captioned "A Street in Hum." A Street,
the street.
Yeah. It's got a wall around it and everything. Although calling it a town seems fairly ridiculous.
All right.
And finally, Nigeria. These are all numbers apart from the Argentinian one. The Nigerian film industry, Nollywood, is the second largest producer of movies in the world, behind Bollywood. Both of them ahead of Hollywood, meaning it doesn't really seem fair that the first two are named after the third placed one. They should rename, like, Hollywood American Delhi or something.
Doesn't really work though, does it? No.
But anyway, Nollywood make a lot of films.
They do. Do they make a lot of films in Brazil?
Have we done 4 groups?
Yeah.
Let's do Twitter questions, Ed. We need a break.
All right.
We need a break from all this group talk.
Let's do some Twitter questions. Liz Moore asks. That's at Liz Worsley.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, Liz. Hi, Liz. She's asked this question for the last 6 weeks in a row, and I keep forgetting to ask it. Who'd play you and Paul in the Rankcast movie? So it's going to have to be the Rankcast movie World Cup edition.
Yeah, okay. Listen, Ed, I think they'd cast Brad Pitt as you, and I'd be cast by Jonah Hill or something. I feel like that sort of works.
I was just watching the Brad Pitt Netflix movie, and I've completely forgotten what it's called, about the about war in Afghanistan.
Right.
Kind of weird.
Right.
Wasn't that impressed?
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. But I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they'd get him to play you in the movie.
Here's a World Cup related question that we were going to answer, so let's do it now. Joey Mangini, Joey M_UX, friend of the show, says, who do you predict to be the 4 semi-finalists?
No, we're not doing that. We're doing these at the end of the show, Ed.
Oh,
any that are included in the structure, we're going to save for the end of the show.
All right. Well, you've been name checked. Name checked.
Cheers, Joey.
Did you guys celebrate Fekir Friday? It's not a World Cup question, but I just thought I'd throw that one in there.
So I've missed this by dint of not being on Twitter. What are we talking about here?
So Fekir, the French left-sided attacking midfielder from Lyon.
Fine player.
Decent player. I don't think he's all that, but he's all right. He's no Tony Martial, I'll tell you that. Apparently agreed a £48 million transfer to Liverpool, only for the deal to break down, with the Lyon president saying it's off until after the World Cup.
Right, there we go.
At which point he'll no doubt solicit new bids.
Right. And he'll probably end up at Liverpool with Fabinho. Just a bit upset about that.
On the side, Liverpool appeared to have leaked the results of his medical, which showed some kind of knee problem, and they tried to renegotiate the terms.
It's all very. I guess we'll talk about United's transfers another time when we're about to talk about Brazil. So we'll talk about it then. What other questions have we got?
At written off _MUFC says, who should partner Jordan Henderson for centre back for England?
At centre back? Why is Jordan Henderson playing at centre back?
I think this was Tony Cascarino in his column.
Right.
Who suggested Henderson should be playing at centre back for England.
This is former Republic of Ireland international Tony Cascarino, of course.
With the most bizarre column in the Times. Yeah. Which player will you keep an eye on, says at Lucas _M United.
I'm really excited to see Fred in action since I was going to say I've never watched him before, but you assure me that I have in fact watched him twice when United's under David Moyes played whatever team it was he played for at the time. But I don't remember him, so I'll be interested to see. Will he play for Brazil?
Should do if he gets fit. He got an ankle injury in training the other day, but yeah, he's been coming on or starting some games, so he'll play during the tournament. He might not be in the starting 11.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to see him. And then, is Milinkovic-Savic? Is that happening? Who knows?
He'll certainly be playing for Serbia, yeah. And he's probably going to move. For big money.
Yeah. So whether that's to us or not, who knows? Maybe that's one of those things that was. Just a lot of smoke with no fire. But I'm interested to see him just because he's got the big reputation and everything. And I didn't watch much of Lazio last season at all, if any.
Yeah, you always get a breakout player, don't you? At the World Cup. I don't know whether it's any of the younger players. When I was researching this, trying to think of some of the top young players who might come through. A couple of seasons ago, I'd have been tempted to say it would be Briel Embolo from Switzerland, who joined Dortmund. Not Dortmund. Where did he go to? Werder Bremen.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago. But he's had a hard time, injury, and being really bad knee injury. So it's perhaps not him. Pavon, I mentioned earlier, from Argentina. A lot of people talk about him. I don't watch the Argentine First Division very much. So, Andre Silva was a really good younger player. He's had some tough times at Milan, I'd say. He's scoring, but not scoring tons. But I think he's got everything to be a really top class forward. Could happen if Portugal go a bit further. And Milinkovic-Savic, every time I've seen him, he does look like he's got everything. He's a big unit, wins a lot of aerials, as our stats friends would tell us, and he's very, very good on the ball.
Right, excellent. All right,
Yuri Tielemans at Belgium as well.
That's
looking forward to seeing him.
Tielemans is interesting, right? Because has he gone to Morocco? To Monaco? Sorry, did he go to Monaco?
I actually don't remember.
No, I remember.
I don't think he did yet.
No, but anyway, so it's going to be. He's a player who's just going to be fascinating to watch. But I'm really interested, as always, to see players I just don't know. That's always the exciting thing about the World Cup. And we'll talk a bit about that later.
Yeah, I think he did go to Monaco. Thinking about it,
yeah.
All right, more questions. At Brigley3 says, which star in Russia will be linked to United and end up at Real Madrid? Unfair.
When did we last lose out on the target to Real Madrid? It's been a while.
Yeah. At Henry C. Kremplis says, when is it over? July the 15th. And really? A summer without Mourinho?
When's the World Cup over? What a disgraceful question. Get out. I
was going to say it's the summer without Mourinho and all the drama, which I was actually really looking forward to. But of course, he's punditrying for RT this summer.
He'll be on good form. He'll be in charming mode. He'll be relaxed and happy, and it will be really annoying when he comes back to United and looks miserable for another 9 months.
At new_Dave_Rock says, do you actually care about international football? No, not normally, but it's the World Cup, so it's awesome.
Yeah.
3 games a day, 4 on Sundays.
I do not understand this. I during the domestic season, international qualifiers kind of get in the way. They break up the rhythm of the season. You're fully in partisan mode, so you don't really want to see your lads lining up with the baddies. But international tournaments are the best form of football. I definitely I mean, they don't happen very often. They're over really condensed, short periods of time. They're amazing. The World Cup is the best thing in football.
Yeah. At LJS527 says, if Pogba has a poor World Cup for France, are you worried about his 2018-19 for United?
I'm worried about it if he has a brilliant World Cup for France.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, he has a brilliant World Cup for France and he's playing in a 3 and he's storming, he's world class. I mean, surely Mourinho has to look at that, but surely.
But I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, maybe it will. Maybe Deschamps will kind of put his arm around him and say, "You're my guy. We know that Mourinho's treating you terribly, but don't worry. We've got you. We love you here." You know, all this kind of stuff. But I'm not sure that's Deschamps. Really, I'm not sure. I think Pogba needs a coach like that, and he's kind of looking for one. And I'm worried about his long-term, medium-term future at United. Even I have to say.
At Nick Gilbert 86 says, who wins the Golden Boot, Jesse or Marcus?
Jesse, definitely. Big game player. Although that
Rashford's goal the other night, that was, spanking it past Keylor Navas.
Yeah, that was absolutely beautiful. What a hit.
I mean, I clearly, obviously, I'm massively biased, but I think both of them should start for England. Rashford, just because his productivity is really high, and Jesse, because he's the only player in the England squad who's actually going to make that third man run over and over again. And Southgate's a smart guy. I think he'll pick him.
I think Lingard is definitely going to start England's first game. I'm not sure that Rashford will. Maybe we'll have a bit of a more in-depth conversation when we get to England, because obviously there's some vested interest there. So let's do the next group, shall we, Ed?
Okay, final question, and I'm sorry for everyone who we didn't get to. We'll have many more podcasts during the World Cup, or at least a couple. This one's for you, Paul. At @Moo_CW says, will it be Mourinho's fault when England crash out of the World Cup?
Yeah, for undermining Marcus Rashford's well-being. Why is that for me? That's fully an Ed question, that is.
All right. Let's go to Group E.
Let's do it.
Brazil, Switzerland, Costa Rica, Serbia. This is good, actually. Some good quality there. Brazil. All right, so it's not quite the Brazil, I think, of the 70s, but then it hasn't been quite the Brazil of the 70s for a very long time, has it?
Since literally the 70s. I mean, 1982 is the sort of peak Brazilian, like that's the most Brazilian Brazil ever. 1982, probably.
They've got plenty of really good attacking players. So their midfield, though, it's actually full of kind of functional players. So attacking players, obviously Neymar, he's fit, he scored again. He looks good. Gabriel Jesus, Firmino from Liverpool, Coutinho took him this time. Then I talk about the more defensive players. Fred from United, Casemiro, excellent at Real Madrid. So, I think they're really strong through midfield. They're actually strong in goal this time round, because Alisson from Roma and Ederson, both two very good keepers. Scoring goals, will it be a problem with all those attacking players? Well, only Neymar and Paulinho have got more than 10 for the national team. But this is actually, not that many goals in this squad.
But that's about the age of some of the players, isn't it? I mean, the fact that
for a lot of young players,
other Fred and Joe were being picked by Dunga. I mean, the kind of functionality of this Brazil team was a massive problem under Dunga. They were way too functional, but Chiche, I guess it's pronounced, has really focused the team on attack. He's also...
And they got 41 points from 18 games. They qualified super, super comfortably, which hasn't always been the case over the last 20 years or so.
The first team to qualify Russia were obviously there, but the first team to join Russian qualification. And
United connection, Fred, obviously.
So, Ed, tell me about Fred.
Fred, well, I'm not going to pretend to have watched an awful lot of the Russian league, so I haven't.
The Russian league?
Ukrainian league. I've watched even less of the Ukrainian league. I haven't played for Shakhtar, but he did play against United once, not twice. He played in the 1-1. Okay. And I don't remember him playing, so there you go. But he's a defensive midfielder, or lots of energy, gets around a bit. His numbers look good for that kind of player. So checked him out. He's got a couple of decent show reels on YouTube, and he's going to be all energy, and he could be the player that releases Paul Pogba. But then again, that was supposed to be Nemanja Matic, wasn't it?
It was.
But he is, I think the player who really suffers for this is Ander Herrera, clearly. He's not a direct replacement for Michael Carrick, not that kind of, quarterback, but does have a nice range of passing off his left foot. Again, YouTube reel. But it's Ander Herrera who's in trouble, and not surprising that there have been sort of reports that Ander Herrera may be moving back to Spain.
Right. But so for Brazil, they're really solid everywhere, I think. I think there's not a position in that side where you look at and go, maybe their first choice right back got injured.
Dani Alves got injured, yeah, and the other one is Russian. So they'll play with Danilo at right back probably.
Yeah, which that's perhaps a bit of a weakness. But, Marcelo at left back, they've got fine central defenders, brilliant goalkeeper, very, very effective functional midfielders who recycle the ball to their forwards.
I know they're really high quality side, and if they can get it to Neymar and Jesus and Firmino, they're going to score goals.
And Firmino might not even play. So
he might not. No, he might not. It's not obvious that he will.
Coutinho, Gabi Jesus and Neymar is one heck of a front three, though, isn't it?
It is. And in the interest of time, I'll go through the rest of the group a bit more quickly. But fun fact about Brazil, most popular name in Brazil is Silva, and they're not even taking the De Silva twins. I'm counting De Silva in the...
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable, yeah. There are 5 Silvas or De Silvas in the Brazil squad. Can you name them?
No, I can't name anyone. I'm not naming anyone today.
It is Marcelo, Thiago, Danilo, Willian, and Neymar.
There you go.
Now, I did actually check that out. That's how sad that was to get that fun fact.
Other fun fact, Tite's nickname, Tite, he got that because his coach, I think it was Phil Scolari, his coach at under-14s, thought that he remembered him being the player that he used to play alongside as a schoolboy, who was Tite. And it just stuck from there. I feel bad for other Tite.
Switzerland are the other group. They finished second behind Portugal. They won 9 out of their 10 qualification games, so they were pretty unlucky. And then they beat Northern Ireland with a really, really dodgy penalty.
Yeah.
Really, really dodgy. They've got some good players, though. They've got Kanji from Borussia Dortmund. Fine defender. I was going to say Granit Xhaka, but we've seen with Arsenal, he's not all that. Embolo, I mentioned earlier. He's got all the potential. Really talented forward. Was unlucky to get a really serious knee injury, but he was Schalke's record signing. I think I said Werder and Borussia Dortmund before. Some German side, whatever. Interesting coach for Switzerland, Petrovic, who's not really had much of a coaching career or a playing career. But, there you go. He won the Coppa Italia with Lazio 4 years ago, which was good. United connection, none. But can you name the only Swiss player ever to have actually made a first-team appearance for United?
Listen, I'm just going to save everyone time, and I'm going to save me mentioning loads of Austrians and Italians and Germans and French people, and just say
they're almost Swiss. Saidi Yanko, do you remember him?
Yes, I do. I did not realise he was Swiss. I remember him well. He was. Did he play against Milton Keynes? Was he one of those? I think he was one of them. I think he was one of Louis van Gaal's tiny children.
Fun fact about Switzerland, It's not about chocolate. The official name of the country is the Confederatio Helvetica, which I thought was a font, but apparently is not, in Latin, which is only ever actually used on legal documents, but it's why the abbreviation for the country is CH.
There you go. Good. I'm not sure how fun it is, but it's a good fact.
It's fun for nerds. Costa Rica. Who fourth in World Cup qualifying in CONCACAF region ahead of Panama, Haiti and Jamaica, and then second in the second stage called the hexagonal, behind Mexico but ahead of Panama, Honduras, and the US and Trinidad and Tobago. So they've done well. They did well last time as well. Remember that penalty shootout they lost to the Netherlands in the last World Cup?
Yeah, absolutely. That was when we were all rooting for the Netherlands because of Louis.
Yeah, Keylor Navas in goal.
Yep.
obviously we know him. Kendall Watson, who's been one of the better players in MLS over the last couple of seasons. Brian Ruiz, you remember from his Fulham days. And then there was a bloke who came on against England the other day called Ian Smith. Way. That was great. Yeah. I believe me, I looked everywhere to try and work out why he's called Ian Smith.
There's lots of Costa Rican folks with very sort of Western, not Western, I mean, not Romance language influenced sounding names.
Yeah. Coach Oscar Ramirez, he's possibly one of the best coaches in Costa Rican club football history.
Wow.
Having won 5 league titles with Alajuelense. And he was appointed for the second spell at Costa Rica national manager a couple of years ago. There you go. United connection, none that I could work out, except, of course, Keylor Navas almost joined United, but for a dodgy fax machine.
Sitting on the tarmac crying about not being able to join United and had to make do with winning every Champions League since.
How he regrets that. Yeah. Never happening. And Costa Rica's under-23 coach is Paulo Wanchope, who scored that amazing goal at Old Trafford, and I've never forgiven him for it.
Honestly, but you can't not love Paulo Wanchope, can you? Because, that is how football should always be played.
Fun fact.
Yes.
Some could argue with the definition of this, but Costa Rica is the first and so far the only Central American football team to win a game at the World Cup.
What, isn't Mexico in Central America?
Well, yeah. Some people wouldn't say that.
Oh, okay. But, apologies. Man, I am just an international relations mess today.
Depends on who you talk to.
Okay, all right.
Serbia is the final one.
Okay, I am definitely not saying anything.
Yeah, spark another war. Who have they got? They got Matic, the aforementioned Milinkovic-Savic, Branislav Ivanovic is the captain, still playing, now at Zenit. The coach is interesting because he's a former Bundesliga defender, Mladen Krstić. It's his first management job, which is a bold move, I'd say, from the Serbian FA. He played for Serbia at the 2006 World Cup. Who's going to win this group? I haven't got any fun facts about Serbia.
We're just worried. You just like, listen, of all the countries I don't want to upset, I'll talk about Russia's human rights record, but I'm not saying anything about Serbia.
Yeah. Depends how you define it. They've played a lot of World Cups. If you include Yugoslavia, bit contentious. Yeah, that one. A little. Brazil, Switzerland, Costa Rica, Serbia is where I'm going.
Okay,
but it could be close because Costa Rica are a decent side.
And so is Serbia. There's nothing that they are a perfectly functional, decent side that I definitely think this is another one of those groups where Brazil, I think, will presumably walk qualifying, and it's going to be fascinating to see because I wonder whether Switzerland will be undone by their tendency to just sit back behind the ball and be, well organised and stuff. But that could, on the other hand, make it so that they get through, because football is an amazing game when nobody knows what's going to happen.
It's like Serbia is hard to tell because they were in a pretty average group: Ireland, Wales, Austria, Georgia, Moldova. Right?
I mean, it's kind of.
I know
average.
Wales did it. They did well at the Euros, but it feels like a one-off, doesn't it? So, are they any good? Costa Rica, pretty good in qualifying for a tiny country, and actually looked decent against England the other night. Not great, but decent. So, it'll be tight. It should be fun. There should be some fun games in that one. And Group F.
Talking of fun games, listen, I said that there's nothing certain in football, but poor old Mexico. Since 1994, they've been in every World Cup. They've made it out of every single group stage and never got past the second round. They've been knocked out in the second round of every World Cup since 1994. And they're in a group with Germany. And if they finish second, they play the winners of the group that you've just been talking about, meaning they're almost certainly going to play Brazil and get knocked out in the second round again. And
they'll be great, and they'll lose to a goal in the 119th minute.
Yeah, right. So that's I think the one certainty in this World Cup is that Mexico are going to lose to Brazil in the second round. Mexico, there's always 2022. Seeing how well Germany do in this group is the thing that I think I'm most looking forward to, because I think this is this is almost a kind of ideal level group for eventual winners because, I mean, South Korea are genuinely not very good, but they have got some very fine players in that not very good side. And so I think every game in this group for Germany is going to be challenging and is going to kind of have a different ask of them, but none of them are going to kind of be incredibly taxing, emotionally draining games, you wouldn't imagine. So I feel like it's a brilliant sort of warm-up group for Germany. So United interest, ex-Reds in this group, like Javier Hernandez and Thomas Muller. And a current Red you've probably forgotten about in Victor Lindelof. Who plays for Sweden, of course, not Denmark or Norway or Iceland. Thomas Muller, not really a Red. That was a joke. There's a little joke about transfer rumours for you there. And no Zlatan for Sweden because, as we all know, he doesn't have legs anymore.
Scored for LA Galaxy the other night.
Yeah, I mean, he's still amazing for them. Perfect. All right, I've got some fun facts for you, Ed. You want some fun facts?
I want fun facts.
Germany were the first country to introduce daylight savings. And the thing about this is they did it in 1916. And that feels like a weird time to do like a big admin thing. You'd have thought.
You'd think there's some other stuff they're worried about
exactly.
Then. But probably it was war related, right?
Yeah, yes, you'd imagine. So Mexico, right, is home to a very rare rabbit called the volcano rabbit, which lives near Mexican volcanoes. Now, the thing that drew my attention to this was I think the volcano rabbit is an amazing name, a nickname for like a speedy, prolific Mexican striker, the volcano rabbit. So whoever the next one of those is, he should definitely go by the nickname.
They've got a striker called El Chucky.
Yes, they have. Yeah, because he used to, Herving Lozano used to hide under his teammate's bed at youth level and jump out and scare them. And Chucky is absolutely terrifying. So
he is. He's been sent off a whole bunch of times, El Chucky. He's a fairly frightening prospect as a player.
He was linked to United. In fact,
He's a good player.
I once got a DM from a Mexican journalist asking me if I had any contacts with the United board because they wanted to verify whether the links were real. I had to disappoint that gentleman. Sweden, fun fact about Sweden, it's where Zlatan Ibrahimovic is from, which has wiped out all other possible facts. Sorry, I don't make the rules, Zlatan does. That's the same with South Korea, but for Jisung Park. No, but seriously, both the tiger and the rabbit are important Korean folk symbols. And some Koreans say that the Korean peninsula is shaped like a tiger and others like a rabbit. And both animals are found in Korean folktales and folk art. And I've decided to make as many of these facts as possible about rabbits in some way.
And anything going on in the Korean peninsula this week that we should talk about?
No, definitely not.
In politics cast?
No, but I would say that Jisung Park did have rabbits at his wedding. And I always thought that was a
spectacular wedding it was too.
Yeah. The Korean side are probably, I think, going to finish bottom of this group. And I think that I think Germany are going to win it because, I mean, listen, this is the combination of playing squad and a manager who will have he won't learn anything new about being at major international tournaments. He's the manager at this tournament with most tournament experience. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being one of the managers of all time with most tournament experience when it's all said and done, and certainly like levels of success. It got to the semi-final or better in every tournament since 2008, I think. That's including Euros, obviously.
And they keep churning out players as well.
Yeah, exactly. Joshua Kimmich might be an amazing superstar at this World Cup, and he wasn't at the last one. But they've still got this kind of solid core that
quite possibly the best fullback on the planet right now.
Yeah.
And anywhere else he wants to play.
Yeah,
because he can.
Exactly. So, I think Germany will kind of be pretty much in control of this group. And then I think Sweden, without Zlatan, really are the kind of cliche of what you expect Sweden to be. Well organised 4-4-2, quite dull, no superstars. There was talk about Zlatan coming back, but I think that was just Zlatan talking nonsense, really. So I've gone Germany, Mexico, Sweden, South Korea. Mexico to lose to Brazil in the second round. Poor old Mexico.
Group G, we've got 2 more groups to go, Paul. No.
Yeah, the home straight is here.
All right, very good. So Belgium, Panama, Tunisia, and England in Group G. For King Harry and whatever.
Cry God for Harry, England, and St. George. You quoting Henry V. Once more unto the breach, dear friends. Once more,
No.
we'll close the wall up with our English dead. Is that what you're saying, Ed?
Absolutely not. I was, for very different reasons, looking up some Shakespeare the other day.
Right.
Based on a New Yorker article, this is going to sound very highbrow, that I was reading about the use of the word feckless. Just to bring it down a little bit.
Of course. I mean, who didn't know that that's where that was going?
Of course. Shakespeare, not only did he like the word an awful lot, but he was actually very, very creative with how he used it.
Yep.
He often just alluded to it, talking about country matters quite a lot. There you go. Let's move on, shall we? Belgium, who did the most sensible thing they could possibly do with their insanely talented group and sacked Mark Wilmots.
Yeah.
Which they had to do because why take all that talent and just suck it all out of them?
Madness.
But then they did a really, really, really weird thing and appointed Roberto Martinez. And I was just like, what about his time at Wigan and Everton said, I know what, Belgian manager, but he's done a good job with it.
I think it's a really good appointment. I don't ever hear anyone else say this, and generally speaking, that makes me assume I'm badly mistaken. Like
probably completely right. But for some reason, he fits.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when they made the appointment, I thought, this makes sense. He's going to really concentrate on attacking football, play possession-oriented football. His Everton side ran out of steam and faltered towards the end of his career, but there were a couple of seasons where they were really good. He's got a really good relationship with Romelu Lukaku, and you can just imagine Roberto Martinez absolutely smashing a job interview, just like walking in there totally prepared, totally confident. He does have that kind of, he talks a very good game, Martinez does.
Yeah, he does. Scored 43 goals in qualification, which, let me tell you, is a lot.
And then he appointed Thierry Henry to make it like sexy and fun. So it's good.
Hazard, De Bruyne, Witsel, Tielemans, Monaco's Tielemans. Tons and tons of attacking talent. Vermaelen barely ever plays, but he's in the squad. Vertonghen, Company barely ever plays, but he's in the squad. Alderweireld barely ever plays, but he's in the squad. If they can stay fit, they've got a great attack and a great defence and loads of quality across midfield too. Strength in depth's an issue for Belgium.
Yeah.
But they've got 15 very good, very, very good players. United connection loads. Lukaku, Fellaini, both in the squad. He might not be a United connection by the time the tournament starts. We'll see. Also, and this is interesting, Adnan Januzaj.
I might as well do about a boy who could do anything. I hope so much that he absolutely nails this World Cup so that I can dig out all my articles from 2014, which have lain dormant since, saying the hype's real. It's not just hype. He really is the real deal.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
It's amazing. Like, such a brilliant thing. I was a really interesting article in 442 about how De Bruyne and Hazard, I think I mentioned this earlier with a different team, but De Bruyne and Hazard are very much causing a bit of a Lampard-Gerrard problem because they really do just want to occupy the same spaces. And when you think about it, of course, they do.
They'd be good moving De Bruyne back into central midfield.
That's what Martinez did, I think.
Yeah. And then he left out, bold move this one, he left out Raja Nainggolan.
Yeah.
So, and been a mainstay of the side for a long time, and obviously, if they fail, the finger's going to be pointed, for that reason. Yeah. But it was a bold move,
and I think it was a move about squad cohesion, and Nainggolan's a bit of a bad boy, and Martinez apparently flew out to meet with him to tell him all about it, which I think is very much the decent thing to do compared to kind of Glenn Hoddle dropping people by text message and stuff,
That's right. The story about Gareth Southgate calling Gary Cahill, and Cahill didn't want to take it, assuming that he'd been left out of the England squad, and eventually Southgate leaves a voicemail saying, not all voicemails are bad, we're going to talk about England in a minute, so I'll save it for that. What else have we got not England-wise in this group? Oh, no, I want a fun fact about Belgium. Fun fact. Well, like I was thinking, Belgium's chocolate. So, praline chocolates were invented in Belgium. Right. 1912.
Thank you, Belgium.
World's #1 exporter of chocolate, 220 20,000 tonnes a year. But that's not a good fun fact, is it?
No, Belgium is associated with
Belgium apparently invented cricket.
Wow. Okay. You got me. That is a good fun fact, Ed. That is a solid...
Some academics believe that immigrants from North Belgium could well have imported the game to Britain based on a poem found and thought to be from 1533, which not only mentions cricket but wickets.
Nice. And Geoffrey Boycott, amazingly.
Amazingly, he was still blocking in 1533.
Yeah. No, what you don't want to do here is... Anyway, I won't do it. I won't do the voice.
Might explain why the England cricket team is so bloody awful right now. Also in this squad, Panama and Tunisia. Panama came through CONCACAF, qualified reasonably well. Really dramatic, though, how they qualified. Yeah. So it looked like the US were going to qualify from the Hex, second stage of CONCACAF qualifying. Panama needed to beat Costa Rica. And they needed Trinidad and Tobago to beat the US, and that all came true, and very, very late in the day as well. So, incredibly dramatic and traumatic for the US to miss out. Not a lot of star players, most of the players are around Latin America or a lot in the MLS, a couple in Europe, not many. Captain is Roman Torres, who I've actually seen play a couple of times. Plays for Seattle Sounders. Right. He's built like a brick shithouse.
He scored the goal that sent them through, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and got a lovely round of applause from the MLS fans, which he said he was very grateful for because he was a bit worried he was going to get booed.
What I've seen of him, a little bit agricultural in his style. Might give a few players a bit of a kicking. They have a manager in Hernan Dario Gomez who's been there and done it before. He's previously manager of Colombia. United connection, couldn't find one.
No.
I don't know. And, United done any tours to Panama, couldn't see it. No idea. Players.
I'll tell you what, Ship Canal, Panama Canal, there you go.
That's true. Should be a twin city, really, country. Republic of Mancunia and the Republic of Panama. Fun fact, Hernan Dario Gomez is one of 4 people to have led at least 3 different national teams to the World Cup. So he went with Colombia and Ecuador previously.
Right.
The others are Henri Michel, Bora Milutinovic, who's actually done 5.
That's impressive.
And Carlos Alberto, who's also done 5.
Wow. Very good. Good fun fact.
Tunisia.
So, Tunisia. Paul Scholes, 1998. What a sunny, warm, happy day that was.
Looking at the number of caps in the Tunisian side, they're ranked 14th in the world in the FIFA rankings, Tunisia, by the way.
Wow.
They haven't qualified for any World Cups in ages.
Since 98, right? I can't remember them being there.
But looking at the squad, it looks really inexperienced. I mean, can't say I really know any of the players. They've got a 20-year-old midfielder, Bassem Srafari, who was very good at Nice this season, apparently. They tried to call up Sami Khedira's brother because Tunisian heritage. He's called Rani Khedira. Plays for Augsburg. He's the younger brother. He looks remarkably like Sami. Funnily enough, that's how DNA works. But he turned them down.
Yeah. Holding out for that Germany Cup. Or other teams that he might be qualified for.
Yeah. That was my fun fact, by the way.
Well, that was not a fun fact. I mean, it was all right. Listen, it was all right. It's been a long show.
United never had a Tunisian player. Let's move on to England,
yeah, let's do it. So,
probably won't be England's year is what I wrote in my notes.
I mean...
But looking at how Spain and Germany did it, they did it by winning lots of under-20 tournaments and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think it won't be England's year this year, but England won the under-20 World Cup, won the under-17 World Cup, won the under-19 European Championships, have won the Toulon tournament for the 3rd year running. This appears to be a pattern. Bit of a problem that in the Premier League, young English players can't really get a game, but
they're starting to move to the Bundesliga, like they definitely should.
They're moving to the Bundesliga to get a game. It's sensible move from a few players. Southgate's, he can't have been high on anyone's list but the FA's, right? He's an FA insider. He was seen as one of the grey suits, but he's got the team playing possession football. They're playing with 3 at the back. bit prosaic, I'd say, England, given the amount of attacking talent. But he's made some really sensible decisions, not least dropping Joe Hart, very, very sensible.
Rooney, got rid of him pretty quick.
Got rid of Rooney really, really quickly. He's made the team more accessible to the media. They might actually get some positive coverage. We'll see how long that lasts if they get a dodgy result in the opening game. But, it's the most inexperienced squad in the whole tournament in terms of number of caps per head, which is, and a very, very young squad as well, which will probably tell when they get to bigger games.
If
they get to some bigger games. I mean, it will be a tough group. Panama and Tunisia will not be a rollover, and Belgium are a really top side and much, much more experienced. So, if they get out of that Belgium game with a point, that'll be really good.
The thing about it, the Southgate, I mean, we kind of had some jokes on the show because I was saying that Allardyce is like a perfectly reasonable appointment for England, and that feels like
I can't believe how balls deep you are. You're in Allardyce. That really sounds wrong. Really. Just to be clear, Paul has never been balls deep in Allardyce.
Thank you for clarifying that. No, I mean, I thought that you get a guy who's going to kind of maximise, play kind of percentage football, and it won't be much fun to watch, but actually you might get them to be a kind of coherent squad and do something in a tournament, but I'm not, and I wasn't excited by the appointment of Southgate at all, but it's been the biggest surprise in football in the last couple of years for me. Just how assured he is, how progressive his thinking is, how kind of the man management stories you hear are really excellent. And so I was going to mention this earlier, but there is an amazing Rob Smythe piece on Eurosport about World Cup 98. And it draws a few comparisons between Southgate and Glenn Hoddle and points out that Hoddle was always quite suspicious of playing Southgate because he wasn't that good on the ball. And Southgate has now dropped Chris Smalling for not being good enough on the ball.
Yeah.
Really. And, decisions like that, the Hart decision, the kind of not going with the status quo, dropping Gary Cahill when he dropped in form, bringing him back into the side when his form picked up. These are smart decisions. And the Jesse Lingard thing, there's a lot of managers who wouldn't think to put Jesse Lingard in the side. Maybe this season is a bit different because he's shown his utility in a really dramatic way a number of times. But the sense that England are actually building something. We had all this talk recently this season because Rio Ferdinand and Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard were all on BT Sport talking about kind of basically coming clean about how their generation just wouldn't talk to each other on international duty because they were such fierce rivals in the Premier League that it felt like a kind of betrayal of their day-to-day. And Rio was saying in a recent interview that this is not the case for the current side because there's no dominant force in English football and there's no fierce, direct, practical rivals. I mean, there's fierce, direct, emotional rivals, but not for kind of league titles. So the idea that you could be mates in the squad seems much more realistic now.
Yeah, and it does feel like there's a good team spirit around the squad.
Yeah.
The thing that will make a difference between England, losing in the early knockout rounds or going much further is if Southgate can get the most out of his attacking players.
Yes.
I think actually defensively England will be pretty solid because they actually have loads of great options, loads of ball playing options. I think Harry Maguire will play. Kyle Walker may play in the 3, may play at the right wing back. Either's great. Gary Cahill may or may not play, but it doesn't actually matter. Phil Jones will almost certainly start for England, and he's looked good in recent games. And at left back they've got or left wing back they've got Rose or Young. Two very good options.
Shout out to Danny Rose, by the way. Much love.
Right. Yes. Very, very, very. Very, very. I was going to say brave. That's the wrong thing, but very personal interview he gave.
Yeah. And maybe, I don't know whether you want to use the word brave or not, but I don't think you can use any word other than courageous to talk about these kind of things in the wider sphere when you're an England player in the lead up to World Cup.
Yeah,
so.
But that kind of interview, which came in a sort of NFL style all-dayer, where the press were allowed to rotate around tables with the players, was because of the kind of open spirit that Southgate's brought into the squad.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm actually effusing about England. It feels wrong.
I mean, the thing about it is I haven't been excited about an England side since 2006, probably. Maybe 2008. I hadn't been totally heartbroken yet by then. But this England squad, not like, oh, we're going to win a World Cup. I don't mean that. But it could be fun to watch England play, and they could do something. They could, a quarterfinal seems very, very realistic for England in this tournament, I think.
Yeah, it does. Quarterfinal feels realistic. Yeah. What will Southgate get out of those attacking players? I mean, he's got Dele Alli, Lingard might be competing for one spot, maybe not. Ali's not had his best season, although obviously he's been very good for Spurs over the last few years. Lingard's the only player, as I said, who'll run ahead of the ball. Everyone else wants it into their feet, which I do think is a bit of a problem. They got Harry Kane, who's scored 30-odd goals again this season. Marcus, obviously. Obviously, Raheem Sterling scored 20-odd goals in the Premier League this season. I almost feel sorry for him. He gets such bad press. Well, I do feel sorry for him. But he is the City player.
But
I'd rather he was being hammered for poor performances than what he actually gets hammered for.
It doesn't matter what team he plays for if the reasoning behind the abuse he receives is so utterly disgraceful.
David Squires in The Guardian. I don't normally like his cartoons, but basically, because he's very long-winded and not that witty, but his piece about Raheem Sterling was, don't be rich and black and they'll leave you alone. Which is desperately sad and also true. So anyway, look, loads of attacking talent, I think, very solid at the back. Midfield is interesting because, who do they play there? Jordan Henderson.
Jordan? World Cup talk, isn't
it? World Cup talk, yeah. Used to put it on the accident. He's not that good.
No. Sorry,
Liverpool fans. Fergie was right. Not sure about his gait, but he's right for not buying him. Eric Dyer, who I think is a much better player, but still, he is a little ponderous, isn't he? But he's got a great range of passing, can drop back into a 3 when England play there, which means he's a much better player for that system. Obviously, he's got a very solid free kick on him. But central midfield is the one where you think they've got lots of great attacking players, and I think they'll be solid defensively. Central midfield is the thing that will undo them eventually.
Yep.
I think England will probably finish second just, and it might be goal difference, and end up playing Germany in quarterfinals, and we'll go out then. That's my prediction.
Yeah, this is the thing, because I think the thing that England have really got going for them is that, so to come to Group H, it does matter whether England top the group or not, because it's probably going to make the difference between playing Colombia or not in the second round. And I think that's going to be a tricky game. There's some very, very fine players in that Colombia side who could exploit England's weaknesses in midfield, essentially. But to kind of talk a little bit about Group H.
It's Colombia or Poland, right?
Well, no, I don't think that's nailed on by any means. So this is right up there with the groups that I'm most excited about watching. So it's not the 80s anymore, and we can all watch football from all around the world if we take the time to do so. Especially if you kind of include illegal streaming sites and legal streaming sites like the gambling websites and stuff. But if you don't spend every waking hour watching football from all around the world, you can still definitely be really surprised and pleasantly surprised by what you see at World Cup. So these 4 sides are among the sides I know the least about, maybe with the exception of Colombia. There's Lewandowski, Sadio Mane playing for, and Shinji Kagawa, players that we know playing for all these sides, and Falcao and James for Colombia. But there's going to be, for me personally, there's going to be a lot of discovery in watching this group, and I'm really excited about that. So no current United interest, but heartbreaking ex-United interest, because Falcao, gone not forgotten.
He wasn't very good though, was he?
No, but he's good again now.
Neither was Shinji, sadly.
Oh yeah, and Shinji, of course, for Japan. But he's good again now. Falcao has come back from the injury, and he's been banging him in from Monaco for 2 seasons now, and fairly consistently at that. So I'm happy that Falcao's kind of back. And Shinji, talk about heartbreaking ex-Reds. The team we could have been with Shinji Kagawa at number 10. Anyway, so I'm not convinced that we're going to say Poland are definitely going to finish second in this. I don't see why Senegal couldn't finished second in this group, really. Qualified strong from African qualification, and Sadio Mane is their star man by a country mile. But I don't know. I can't not predict any African teams to get through to the second round. It upsets me too much to do that. And since I didn't predict Nigeria in that group, or Morocco in theirs, I'm going with Senegal to get through.
All right.
Got some fun facts for you though.
Got some fun facts. You didn't get my England fun fact, by the way.
Oh no! What's your England fun fact?
It's a good one. It's not fun though.
Oh, okay.
England is the only non-sovereign state at the World Cup.
Well, now that is actually quite interesting. That is an interesting fact.
And that's not a Brexit statement. It's because England's a portion of the United Kingdom.
Yes, I realise that was not Brexit related. Yeah, our sovereignty's gone. Anyway, right, Colombia has got the tallest palm trees in the world. Now that is not a very fun fact when you hear it said in an audio format, but I implore you, ladies and gentlemen, to look up the pictures of the tall palm trees because they are fun to look at. They are really, really tall. It's this one valley where these ridiculously tall palm trees grow, and they're like 60 meters tall. They look really.
It's not what you think about when you think about Colombia.
No, I tried to stay away from that. This one's quite
coffee. I was thinking about coffee. I'm a big fan of coffee, as you know.
This one's slightly upsetting when you think about it in any detail, but Senegal is translated from the Wolof words Sunugal, which means our boat, because when the colonists came, that's what the people kept saying, hey, that's our boat. But the colonists thought they were learning the name of the country. I don't know whether that's true, but it's an upsetting fact. This one, right, is a proper fun fact. In Poland, when foreign movies are dubbed for Polish TV, one man reads all the parts, even of the women and children, and viewers hear the original English quietly in the background. I looked this up to make sure it was true because it seemed like it must be made up.
Oh, like on the news?
Yeah.
Or something like
exactly.
that.
So you just got one person.
So they don't dub, they just have someone speaking over.
Yeah, exactly. Huh. Which is...
Really?
Yeah, I mean, that seems super weird to
weird.
me. Maybe if anyone's Polish is listening, they can tell me that this doesn't happen anymore or something. Fun fact about Japan. I mean, Japan is a country where you can get like an awful lot of fun facts in one way or another. But this one tickled me. 98% of adoptions that take place in Japan are of male adults, so that family businesses can stay within those families. 98%. That is a big. That means 2% of adoptions are because a baby needs to be adopted. That's pretty extraordinary. Ladies and gentlemen, you might want to fact check that before you use it in any capacity, but that's what a list of facts about Japan said on the internet.
Wow. It's pretty good. Who's going to win this group?
I think that Colombia are the best side in this group by a long way, and I've got Senegal second but that's because I want it to be true, not because I think it's necessarily true, and then Poland or Japan.
Very good. We finished the group stages. We have some other things to talk about.
Yeah. So
we are going to finish this inside 2 hours, people.
Yes. We're going to give you your lives back any minute now. We probably are going to finish this within 2 hours. No, we definitely will.
Well, if you would stop talking so much.
So we had the question from Joey earlier, but it was on our list of things that we were going to predict. So we've got to save it for the end. Who do you think who are the top 4 finishers of this World Cup in order?
In order?
Yeah, in order.
All right. This is going to sound really uninspiring and not very imaginative. So I think Brazil are going to beat France in one semi-final and Spain are going to beat Germany in the other. Spain are going to beat Brazil in the final. And France are going to beat Germany in the third place playoff.
I've got exactly... Did you say Brazil beating Spain or Spain beating Brazil in the final? Sorry.
Spain beating Brazil in the final.
Yeah, my only difference that I've got from you is that I've got Germany winning the third place playoff because I think... If Germany come up against France in a third place playoff, I can't imagine there's any way France are going to win that.
I think they should do third place playoffs in all competitions.
Do you?
That is funny.
Like
Watching absolutely broken players being forced to play the day before.
The thing about this though is like that. So that's my top four as well. But in order for that to happen, in my bracket, like France are going to have to beat Portugal. I don't think that's nailed on by any stretch of the imagination. Brazil would have to beat France or Portugal, which again you think that's going to happen, but there's not necessarily going to happen. Spain have to beat Argentina on the way, and Germany have to beat England or Colombia or whoever. So there's big obstacles to overcome for anyone that wants to get to the semi-final of this World Cup, because I think there are more than 4 really good teams in this World Cup, as well as the 4 we've mentioned: Argentina, Portugal, maybe Belgium, maybe England. Could do bits, and I don't think England are quite on that level, but there are good teams at this World Cup, and I kind of in a weird way, I was thinking about like what I'd like to happen. So obviously, I'd love it if England won the World Cup. That's probably not going to happen. Slightly more realistic, it'd be amazing to see France win it again. Again, I'm not convinced that Deschamps is going to make that happen. The thing I'd like to happen next most, I think, is Messi winning the World Cup with Argentina, just to shut all the people up who say, oh yeah, but he's never won a World Cup, has he? Because it's the stupidest argument I've ever heard.
Oh, he's not a decent player until he does. Fact.
Is anyone saying...
Fact. Also, Jordan Henderson should play at centre-back for England.
And then I think I would like to see Spain once again kind of ascend in another generation to...
I don't know if I'd say I'd like to see that. I think it's quite... But they just win everything. Everything. It's not just the national team. All the club sides win everything too.
But I think that would mean that in the last 10 years, like Spain would have won 4 international tournaments and like 100 European championships of some kind.
Yeah, it's not right.
No.
It's not right.
But I don't know, I quite like the fact that they decided one day that, wait a minute, little tiny lads tippy-tapping it about the place is actually the most effective way to play this game, and then that turns out to be true, Something's weirdly heartening about that. All right, so given that we think both are saying that Spain are going to win and Brazil's going to come second, who do you think will be voted player of the tournament? Now, I'm not talking about who you think would be the best player of the tournament. I'm talking about who you think will get the FIFA award for best player of the tournament.
Well, if Brazil gets to the final, it's going to be Neymar, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly what I've gone for.
The most popular, and the sponsors will have ensured that it happens.
Yeah, Messi won the 2014 player of the tournament, Lionel Messi. But he was not the best player in that tournament. Who do you think? This isn't on the list, but who do you think is going to be the actual best player in the tournament?
Yeah, well, it could well be Neymar. I mean, he's in a good side and he's the star man.
Yeah.
So, which is what he wants. And for all the drama of the transfer and all the celebrity that goes around him, he's a very good player.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's
almost been forgotten amidst the sort of, the advertising hoarding that he has become.
Yeah. So, top goal scorer?
This one's a difficult one because of the best teams, France are a bit more sort of collegiate, aren't they? It's not going to be Giroud. I don't think he'll start. Mbappe, well, he didn't really score like that in huge amounts of bursts of goals. Brazil, Neymar could get 6 or 7. Of course he could. Spain, Diego Costa, does he have it in him to score that many goals? Again, it's going to come from all over the team, isn't it? So, yeah, I don't know how to pick this one. It could well be Neymar again, but that sounds like a really boring answer.
I've gone for Griezmann because the way I pick top goal scorers at World Cup is look at who's got who in the group stages.
Yeah, because one of them's going to score a hat-trick, and as soon as someone does that, they're in with the shout, aren't they?
So I'm going for Griezmann back-to-back tournaments as top scorer. Again, that's what I want to happen. And then, I predicted earlier that the best United player at this tournament is going to be David De Gea because I'm predicting Spain to win the tournament. So, obviously, David De Gea is very likely to have a very good World Cup if his national side win the tournament. And the rest of United's, I mean, I would love nothing more than for the best United player this summer to be Paul Pogba. That would be amazing. But
yeah. Of course, I totally forgot Timo Werner, Germany. They finally have a striker.
Yeah.
And he's scoring plenty of goals now for Leipzig. So
yeah.
he could well be one who gets something. It won't just be all on Thomas Muller.
No, absolutely. Or Miroslav Klose.
He's probably still playing, isn't he? He's like 60
sure.
and at his 19th World Cup in a row.
Yeah. I think that just about brings us to the end of our World Cup preview. I mean...
it's going to be good, Paul.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
I'm really excited about it.
I am just annoyed, as I was saying earlier, that I've got a work thing for the first 2 days and I'm going to be in China for a week. So
yeah, that's going to be awkward timing-wise. I'm just so excited for the Saturday when there are 4 games, like just 4 World Cup games in the same day. Oh, so exciting. So exciting.
Let's think, 2 beers per half. It could be very interesting.
Not drinking is a great advantage during the World Cup because you can get through a lot more games that way. All right. Thank you to everyone that's listened to this. Again, I would highly recommend going and listening to the Talking Tactics series because they've done a group a day and each group is about an hour. So I highly recommend going back and listening to that if you want more in-depth preview stuff. We'll be back. I think we're going to try and do a show every week. We work around the dates when Ed's in China. But yeah, I think we're going to try and do a show every week and make them as timely as we can. I mean, I ideally wish we were in a position to just do daily podcasts during the World Cup, but unfortunately, this is not our job. So the people that can do that tend to be people whose job it is. So.
Yeah, that would be fun, but not going to happen, peeps. So we'll try and do one a week. There's plenty of other podcasts out there, apparently.
Yeah. A massive thanks to producer Tom for producing this epic of a show. We cut it down. It's like half the length of last time we did the World Cup. So you're welcome, Tom.
Very good. And we played you in with the theme tune from the world's most popular game. Is it?
I don't know. It's the best version of that game ever, though, which is the original Game Boy version.
We're going to play you out with this absolute banger from Hey Dougie.
The World Cup Rankcast, as all Rankcasts, are brought to you by the people that crowdfund us at patreon.com/rankcast. Thank you to everyone who's signed up recently to do that. Normally, people who back the show at $5 plus VAT a month get access to some bonus content because of the ridiculous length of the show. This week we didn't do bonus content, but throughout the World Cup they will be getting that. If you want to get involved, head to patreon.com/rankcast. And if you don't want to get involved, it would be super helpful to us. If you don't want to get involved in that capacity, it'd be super helpful to us if you can do the kind of reviews on iTunes are great if they're 5-star reviews, and just like tell your friends if you've got friends that listen to podcasts, or if you've got friends that don't listen to podcasts but would you think might be interested in hearing lengthy discussions about Manchester United. Let them know about the show, and of course you can tweet about it and Facebook it and Instagram it and all that stuff, because all that really helps us build an audience for our show of people that might like to listen to us rabbiting on about Manchester United for hours and hours and hours, and occasionally rabbiting on about other things like international tournament football with its requisite fun facts. Anyway, that's enough talking from me. We'll be back next week.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.